Greetings people here, today I'm going to be talking about the Aputure ALMC light. Okay, let's get this down. So bright. So Aputure's released a brand new light. I think this came out about 3 weeks ago, and I've been trying to get my hands on this for the longest time, but every single store I went to just kind of didn't have it left, except for this one store I found somewhere in the East End, and I was like, this seems a bit sketch, but I went inside and it seemed pretty legit, so I just bought it there. Okay, back to the review. So this is the Aputure ALMC light. It is a full RGB WW light, which basically means it has all the colors of the rainbow and 2 different versions of white, or something, I don't know. It's just letters to me. When you open the box, you're greeted with a bag. This is a really cool little baggie. It doesn't look cheap anymore. It's like red and black, so it kind of looks like it belongs to Aputure. It's got its own logo as well, so that's one thing. You get 2 sticky thingies with Velcro on them, and just to let you hear the Velcro, it's kind of like... So you got Velcro just in case you decide you want to stick this somewhere that it can't be stuck. You've got pretty decent USB-C cable, which I say it's decent because it's this nylon braid thing, which I love in all my cables. So this is a plus. You get this silicone diffuser sort of material, which is really smart because there's like a little indent over there so that the light doesn't fully touch here, so it gives it a little bit of space. Not really a big fan of this in the terms of the material they use, because this material gets dirty really easily, but in terms of how it diffuses light, it's pretty cool. And finally, you get the light itself. The current price for the ALMC is $90 US, which I think is a pretty decent price considering what this thing can do. So let's start off with all the boring things about this thing. First of all, it's got 2 magnets at the back, and these are really strong magnets. If you got a fridge or whatever, I don't know why you would stick a light to your fridge, but if you got a fridge, it works pretty well. There we go, it sticks. This also has wireless charging built in, so if you have a smartphone that already has wireless charging and you already have one of those wireless charger pad things, you can pretty much just stick this on and this will charge without any wire. This light takes 2 hours to charge fully via USB, and max output will last you about 2 hours, at minimum output 15 hours. That's impressive. No one is going to be on set for 15 hours straight with a light on for 15 hours straight. So the fact that this can do this at minimum output, that's already amazing to me. So let's turn on the light to see what it looks like. This is the light at 5600 Kelvin and 50% intensity, and it's already seriously bright. If I were to turn this up to 100, I'd probably blind you guys. I'm kind of going at 100 already, so yeah, this light is definitely not to be used like this. It can be used as like a bounce or something, but definitely not to be in camera. The light can go from 3200 Kelvin all the way to 6500 Kelvin. Now that's probably not a really big range, but the reason they don't give you such a big range is because it's not that necessary. People don't really go up beyond 56 or even 6000 most of the time, so it's nice to have, but the main reason you might be buying this is for the RGB capabilities. This light has 4 different modes. The first mode is this mode, the CCT mode. It's just your bicolor mode with your different kelvins. The next mode is HSI, and to change modes you just kind of press and hold this button and you'll be greeted with a menu. You just gotta move it to HSI and click. Then now you're HSI. The way this works is you get to change the hue, saturation, and intensity separately, and to toggle between that, you just press that same button, and honestly, it's not very intuitive in terms of just using this thing on its own, which is why this thing is an app, which I'll get to later on. The next mode is the FX mode, which basically has all sorts of different effects. It's called Party, Pulsing, Cop Car, which is probably one of my favorite ones, Fire, and Lightning. I feel like Lightning and Cop Car are the 2 that I would probably use the most. Party's just kind of for fun, it just cycles through different colors. I don't see any practical use for it except for just showing it off. The final mode is Bluetooth mode. It just basically asks you if you want to reset your Bluetooth, yes or no. you might need to do that eventually. I haven't had to do that yet. So let's talk about this app that they have going on. It's a really, really cool app. So basically, you just kind of have all these colors going on, and you can just kind of rotate between them. And that's not even the coolest part. The coolest part about this whole app is the picker. Now this picker has basically a camera. Oh, look, you can see me. But if I were to choose a color, for example, on my recorder, if I wanted this green, just press pick up, and it'll give me the color of that green. And you can also fine tune it a bit, just in case you don't like that color. Can go a bit more or less, and I think this would be really, really helpful when you're doing a corporate shoot and they're trying to ask you to get colors in their colors, and it would totally blow them away when you show them this app. I'm not going to go too in detail with this app because this video is about the light. There are plenty of videos out there about how to use the app, but you can choose your effects and all that as well, which is why the single scrolly thing on here isn't very intuitive. But the app exists, so I guess that makes this light a really, really smart light. Over here we have the very first mini light from them, and that's the Aputure ALM9. This thing has been great. Is it the softest thing? It's not. Is this the most durable thing? Probably not. It's super cheap plastic, but it's super cheap as well. This is the ALM9. It's pretty much like a replacement for the M9, but they're pretty much the same size. The M9 is just slightly smaller and slightly thinner. But other than that, I really don't think you should be getting the M9 now that you have the MC as an option. One other light that people might compare this to is the Bowling P1, and that's the thing that's lighting my wall right now. As you can see, it's got this weird circly effect behind me, and I think it's because it's not soft enough. Now I'm going to turn that light off and put the diffuser on and try and put the exact same blue and see if I can remove that, because if I can, it's going to make this whole setup a lot easier, because for one, I won't have to keep going back to turn it, and I can just use the app to control all my lights. Okay, as you can see, the circular thing has definitely gotten smaller, but this light definitely isn't as bright as the Bowling P1. Now, that light at 67% intensity was already huge, so I think I'm going to have to increase that intensity just a little bit. And here it is at 100% intensity. It kind of looks the same, but you know, it definitely looks a lot softer than before. So a lot of other lights that also have apps have this stupid system. Even Canon does this with their cameras, where you have to connect to their own Wi-Fi, which means that your phone can't connect to other Wi-Fi signals, and it's just absolutely stupid. This thing connects via Bluetooth, and that's so smart because that just means that everything you can get will connect via Bluetooth, and you won't have to connect to its own Wi-Fi signal each time, and it's just, I hate that. So the fact that this is Bluetooth and I can still surf the web and all that kind of stuff on my phone, that's a big game changer for me because I've never been able to do that with these cameras. Like I said before, this really should not be used as a key light. It's more of a fill or an accent or even a background light. You really should not use this as a key. It's definitely not bright enough. As bright as it might have been, it's still not bright enough. So if you think about it this way, $90 for an accent light might seem like a lot if you're on a budget, but if you go on set, like, you'll probably be finding accent lights and all that for way more. So the fact that this can be used, that's totally worth it to me. If you're on a budget, you might be thinking just to buy, you know, one ALM9 and a few gels and then stick it together, because the ALM9 does have a magnetic clipping system, but I've tried that before and it really just doesn't work as well as this. This thing totally blows that thing out of the water. Honestly, I would buy another one of these if I could, but it's really difficult to find in London right now, and this thing is just absolutely amazing. It does have its flaws, but I really think that if you know what you're doing on set and you know how to use this thing, you can totally override these flaws. So that's it from me. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.